Toxic Masculinity. Weekdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.
The first article is Rush Limbaugh dies at age 70 and leftists can't contain their hatred.
Yeah, this is pretty sad, actually.
It's very sad. Like 70 years old. He would live another like 10, 15 years.
Yeah, and he was a very good man. The man is a legend. I didn't prepare what I was going to say about Rush because, everybody on every conservative media outlet is just talking about how sad this is. Obviously, we knew it was going to happen. I actually made a video about Rush right after his cancer diagnosis, or after he announced it to the world. And I learned a lot about him. I grew up with my father listening to Rush, as did probably most of us. I think probably the legacy that he has that I'm the most impressed by was his ability to convert leftists by accident. He did this amazing thing. He's like a magician, right? So he would piss off leftists, right? Like they would hear things that he would say and they would be outraged. And as a kind of, cathartic exercise or something, they would listen to Rush Limbaugh, listen to his radio show. Leftists would, just to get pissed off. They would listen to him. This is really true. My father has a friend who used to do this, and I've heard many stories of people doing this. They would listen to Rush to argue with him, right? Actually, Susan Rice, her son, I read an article, her son became a conservative this same way. Her husband would listen to Rush on the way home from work or whatever after picking him up from school, the kid, and just to argue with Rush. And he started to think, you know what? This guy's right. And the same thing happened to my dad's best friend growing up. He used to listen to Rush, and he to be fair, he did occasionally say, all right, that's a pretty good point. But for the most part, he was listening to him, I think, to argue with him and to get angry. And eventually he said, you know what? I think some of this stuff is kind of spot on. And now he's a conservative. And a guy on my Twitter said the same thing. So Rush had this unbelievable ability to reach people who hated him. And that, to me, that's like the goal, right? That's the dream. And unfortunately on YouTube, it's very difficult to do that because YouTube constricts you. If you're a conservative, they don't want leftists to have to face ideas that they don't like, right? That trigger them. So now we're in this society that's becoming more and more divided because these social media companies are saying, oh, you don't want to see that? We'll hide that from you. This group doesn't want to see this, so we'll hide that from you. But the problem is you don't get exposed to new ideas. And this is the beauty of Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh exposed everybody to really great ideas. Valera, when you were in Russia, did you listen to Rush Limbaugh all the time?
No. No, we listen Putin all the time. We have nothing else to listen.
Yeah. Putin, Rush Limbaugh. I think probably equally as powerful in very different ways.
Yeah, I noticed that good people die kind of earlier than...
Oftentimes. This is true, yeah.
It like in Russia we would say that God taking good people earlier, like...
Yeah, we say that in America too.
It's
said
very
a good
sad.
die young.
Very sad.
It is very sad. I plan to be a real a-hole. Totally horrible person.
Darling, you don't need to plan. You are.
Okay, so thank you, Natalie. I want to live a long time. All right, so let's read through some of these tweets. It's really bizarre. So this is what I have to say about this, because the left has not witnessed this death, the death of Rush Limbaugh, the legend. And by the way, on a personal note, I would like to say that none of us would be able to do what we do without Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh was the pioneer. All of us are just pretenders. Now, there were people before Rush, but it was sort of the William F. Buckley types, right? Who, massive respect to William F. Buckley. But Rush Limbaugh did something that no one had been able to do or thought to do previously, which is to take conservative political, philosophies, ideas, and express them in a format on a show that was actually funny and entertaining. He was really, really funny, and he made conservatism entertaining. And that's the first time I think it's ever been done in history. So he really is a pioneer. And we all try to emulate that. But he was the best, he's a legend. Let's see here. So the left heard that Rush Limbaugh died. And I actually don't know if I would say that this is a testament to how horrible leftists are, although, okay, no, I take that back. It definitely is. But it's also a testament to how influential the leftist media is. You've got a lot of these people genuinely believe that Rush Limbaugh is a racist. That a lot of people are criticizing, and I hate to read these on the, just after the man has died. But this is reality. This is what's going on right now. This is the raw truth. So let's read some of these tweets by these psychos. This is an article, by the way, in the Daily Caller. And they've listed a bunch of tweets from really horrible leftists. This guy, all these people have a blue check, by the way. This guy's name is Louis Vertel. No idea who he is, but total scum, obviously. He says, once I learned my aunt listened to Rush Limbaugh, I knew never to speak to that aunt again. Thanks, Rush. What a charmer. This guy's name is Daniel Summers. He's a doctor, apparently. He writes, Rush Limbaugh was a terrible human being in life, and I refuse to abide by the convention that his death absolves him from criticism for his legacy of bigotry. He wasn't a bigot. See, I mean, this is the weird thing. Like, obviously, this guy's a horrible person for putting this tweet out. But the fact that he even believes that is crazy to me. That's just a testament to how malleable the public is and how much the press lies about this stuff. Because people actually believe that, and it's just wrong. Daniel, let's read a couple more of these. Bette Midler, sure you've heard of her. She writes, Rush Limbaugh has gone to his reward. I bet it's hot. If hot in the sense that it's awesome. Let's see here. Shannon Watts, also blue check, writes, Rush Limbaugh helped create today's polarized America by normalizing racism, bigotry, misogyny, and mockery. Mockery he did normalize, but I think maybe it was kind of normalized before that. But he did like to mock people, and he was good at it, and he was hilarious. He was a demagogue who got rich off hate speech. Not true. Division, lies, and toxicity, that's his legacy. So this is, I can read more of these, but I'm not going to because they're garbage. But this is what I had to say about this. This is what I wanted to talk about this particular article for. Leftists are leftists for a reason, right? People who vote for Democrats vote for Democrats for a reason. And that reason typically is because they believe that the Democrats are the good guys, right? They're environmentalists. They want to save the whales.
Turtles?
Valeria likes turtles.
I do.
But you know what I mean. Like the straws.
Yeah.
You can't have straws because there was a YouTube
yeah.
video with a straw up a turtle's nose once. And they're like, the straws are going to kill all the turtles.
Yeah, now when we getting lunch at work, on catering, they have, because of COVID, they put all of
TV
this
shows.
Yeah, in production in Hollywood, they put all of the food in plastic containers. Everything separate, everything in plastic, even cups in plastic, except the straw is paper. Everything is plastic, straw is paper. Straw is the only one thing I would like to have in plastic.
Yeah.
Everything else could be paper.
Everything else could be paper if they were true environmentalists. Yep. Well, nobody ever said the left was rational. But here's the thing. So leftists have this kind of moral authority, right? They think the right is bigoted, all the stuff this woman said, polarizing, misogynistic, racist, bigoted, all that kind of stuff. But this is the kind of stuff that they post.
Well, they shouldn't post anything. If you have a negative thoughts about the person who died, you will ever stay silent. Don't say anything. Like that doesn't look good.
Of course that's what you do.
They shouldn't do stuff like this.
Look, how many people truly hated Ruth Bader Ginsburg? I'm sure there was a lot of people on the left that were, on the right, that were very frustrated with her and were desperately hoping that she was going to die. On the one hand, obviously balanced by the fact that, anyone's death is necessarily going to be tragic for the family and all that kind of thing. But as a matter of practicality, people did want her off the court. Mm-hmm. But when she did finally die, I can't recall anybody going, ha ha! I mean, I'm sure some people did, but they certainly didn't do it on Twitter. They certainly didn't do it on television. This is a slew. I would call it a slew of leftist blue check people going out and posting all of this absolutely rancid viciousness against a conservative because they don't like his politics. They think that he's evil. Look, leftists, we're not all Hitler, all right? I mean, just because we have a different political view than you, that doesn't mean that, we should be the subject of this kind of abuse. This is ridiculous, especially in death. And what's the point? Does it make them feel good about themselves? I don't even understand that. They are so ugly. They are so nasty. They are so horrible. I don't know how any leftist can look at this garbage and say, oh, the left are the good guys. No, the left are not the good guys. I'm sorry. Donald Trump may have said some things that didn't come across well, but this is intentional viciousness, intentional ugliness. I'm sorry, guys. This is just how it is. The right, good guys. Left, bad guys. And it is demonstrated every single day. This is absolutely clear. They couldn't be clearer. Because these aren't like a few people. This is tons of tweets. I mean, I could go on and on forever. It's just disgusting. Anyway, all right, I'm going to move on from that.
Leftists, they're not necessarily bad people, but lots of them kind of stupid, uneducated.
Well, yeah. Mm-hmm. It's kind of weird. I think for the average Democrat voter, you have sort of stages of development in terms of traveling into the heart of darkness, I guess, right, spiritually. And I think the first step is being uneducated or gullible, right? So a lot of these leftists, they don't take the time to actually research politics, look into it, think about this stuff objectively, and they're kind of gullible people, a lot of them. Not all of them are gullible. Some of them are just uneducated. But many of them just listen to what Rachel Maddow has to say, and they go, yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. And then the problem is, if you're that gullible and you're that unwilling to educate yourself, about the politics of both sides, what ends up happening is you listen to people like Rachel Maddow who say the right is evil, right? She might not always say it outright. Sometimes it's implied. But there is this onslaught on CNN, MSNBC, all the networks, even PBS, New York Times, all that kind of stuff. They're all lying about conservatives constantly, nonstop, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I think somebody who's that gullible will genuinely believe that everybody on the right is a white supremacist, right? That's how it ends up happening. On my watch, it says, robberies on the rise throughout central LA, where we live. That's, because we have Democrats in charge out here. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is that they are the bad guys. There's no need to speak ill of Rush today, especially of all days. And yeah, I don't think that Democrats start out as evil. They start out as gullible, or they start out as poorly educated about politics, and they're sort of slowly boiled in the pot of water, the frog slowly boiling, which I think is actually a myth. I don't think that works, but but they slowly become conditioned to believe that they can be this vicious and awful to conservatives, and it's okay. They become evil, essentially. All right, darling, I think we should move on to the next headline. It's enough about their viciousness.
I like what Michael wrote here. He wrote, right is right and left is wrong.
That's a good sentiment. I like that.
Yeah. So the next will be Governor Cuomo threatens New York Democrat critic.
Toxic Masculinity. Weekdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.